Hello everybody and welcome to another Transformers knockoff review. Today I'm taking a look at Energy Warrior making a comeback. Decepticon GOD-01 Decepticon Skyfire. Skyfire Autobot. See? Says it all there in the instructions. This is of course a KO version of the Revenge of the Fallen leader class Jetfire. I absolutely hated the original toy with a passion. It has some resemblance to his screen counterpart, who kind of sucked. The alt mode was nice, but I saw this come up on TF Direct, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a go. It's been a long time since I had the original, and this one does actually look pretty darn nice. Now, his colour scheme is actually based on the Dark of the Moon 2-pack edition, which is a lot more screen accurate. It's more screen accurate than what we got with the initial release. You've got this kind of coppery tone around the chest. You've got some nice pinstriping along the kind of circuitry around the legs. We come up there, we've got gears and mechanisms in here. I do actually like the breaking up of the colour. The face still looks absolutely terrible, although we did get the nice blue clear section on the top here. Now, just taking a closer look at the head there. It's not terrible. It's just not fantastic. Mind you, I can really like the character in the movies. It's like, oh dear, what has Michael Bay done? Now, he does come with accessories. He comes with his cane, stroke landing gear wheel, which just slides in to his gripping hand. And he does also come with this kind of chain gun, stroke rocket launcher, which does fire. Overall look and feel of him feels very much like the original toy. Actually pretty darn happy with it. He's nice. He's not the most articulated of characters. He never was. But he does feel nice in hand. He's still, I don't know how to describe really. It's still a bit around some of the panels. It's not 100%, but it's definitely worth the money. The plastic feels very much like we get with the Fans Want It kits, actually. Scale-wise, toy-wise, he looks pretty good alongside KO Megatron, although in the movie he was like a seeker, wasn't he? He was one of the first, so I kind of thought he was a little bit bigger. He came across as kind of towering over some of the other bots. Here he is alongside KO Striker. Now obviously this isn't the same prime as what we got in the 2-pack, but he will do nicely. And here he is alongside Scorponok. I think that's a pretty good match in size. Now, articulation on Jetfire was never amazing, but considering he is in essence an upgrade kit for your Optimus, I think they've done a pretty good job back in the day. The head does move left and right, although it doesn't really want to stay left or right. The shoulders can move up and down on a ratchet, can rotate them forwards and backwards. We have an upper bicep rotation. We have a bend at the elbow, although the bend itself is quite limited. We do have a rotation on the wrist as well as an open and close on the hands. We don't have anything on the actual waist because this whole mechanism here is kind of part of the upgrade. The legs can come forwards and back on a ridiculously tight ratchet. We can come outwards. There is rotation on the knee. There is a bend on the knee, but it goes this far forwards. Come around to the ankle. We have forwards and backwards motion there. and we do have an independent kind of motion from the toes to the heels, but we don't have any pivoting. So if you're looking for a highly articulated dynamic figure, probably not the one for you. He's kind of limited to the old man waving his walking stick pose. Jetfire does still have a battery compartment. It's just located on the back underneath this section here. It literally just tabs in. You can place that back on. Just give that a push and a push, and then we can press the button, and again, and we can also pull down on the trigger.
Jetfire's my name. Jetfire's my name.
Jetfire's my name. Probably the very worst Scottish accent going.
Jetfire's my name.
Now, of course, this old boy can be transformed. I'll be honest with you, I hate his transformation. There's nothing fun about any of the Revenge of the Fallen transformations, really. Don't get me wrong, the figures, they're actually pretty good looking, especially the Optimus Prime mold. It's done exceptionally well over the years, but it's too complex. Parents were struggling to transform them for the kids. There's just no enjoyment there at all. And we go from that to something like the Transformers RID line. It's from one jump to the other. So anyway, I've put it off long enough. Let's get Jetfire transformed. First port of action, let's move his side whisker sideys, I guess, or parts of his beard. Just they're on a hinge and they're rubber, so they are a bit of a job to move. We can just move those forward. Connect these back panel sections by flattening it all down. These are all going to tab in together, and these front sections are going to literally swivel round, and that again is going to just tab in and line up on either side. The trouble with this figure is it's quite tab heavy. There are quite a few tabs. I did have my reservations. I was worried that they may break, but the resistance on them seemed pretty darn spot on, and everything does tab in. It does just take a little while to maneuver it all into place though. The next step is to bring this jet section up, and there's a plastic tab that runs all the way along the side of this. Just want to run that all the way down and tab that so it's tabbed in all the way along this section here. Oh, I am not going to lie to you guys. I hate transforming this. You know, sometimes you get those toys and people ask you to review them and you keep putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. That's generally because I hate the transformations, and I try and make my transformations as clear and as precise for you guys to follow as I do. It's a terrible transformation. These front panels keep falling off, and when you eventually peg those back on, the back panels come unplugged. Now that's not the fault of the KO. They have literally KO'd the exact Takara mold, and I had no end of problems when I originally had this toy. So yes, it's not fun. The next port of action is to unhinge the body from the mentally unhinged. Let's just untab this, and then this section here kind of comes down from this torso and pulls down. Let's untab this entire section from the back kibble. Now you want to make sure that this hinge underneath here goes into this position, so this goes down and this goes up like so. So we've got that position there, and we can now bring this backpack section down, and there's just some holes underneath the back here, and we're going to bring that onto the back of Jetfire and tab that in. You want to make sure that this backpack section is pushed in firmly, so it's all tabbed in on here, and then we're going to come round to the arms. These sections here actually tab in. You want to extend those, extend that out, and that just shimmies back into place, and then we're going to bring the arms up all the way around, and the joint is going to come to the front. Bring that up. That's going to tab in here and here, and if we look around the other side, there is a tab in the top here as well. That's going to tab in just under here, and then we're going to push all of these joints together, and at the same time as me holding this, I've got my toes crossed in the hope that it doesn't all go horribly wrong and fall apart on camera, because it is a pain to to transform, it is not even remotely enjoyable. There we go, I've had more enjoyable diarrhea. And just get those two to line up. Tab together this back section. Again, that's going to tab in multiple places and just kind of wiggle and lock in. Come to the underside and just plug these two dangly sections in together. Then you want to come to the thighs. Thighs basically you need to rotate round. You want to grab this joint, twist it all the way up until it's completely round. Just that final click is extremely important. Come to the feet, and this section here comes down, and we're going to lift this up like this, and then as this comes down, flip the landing gear upwards, and there is actually a peg here, and that's going to line up with the peg underneath there, like the hole. So just push this down, just wiggle the leg until it gets to the right angle. And with a lot of energon and a little bit of luck, we can peg that in. Just straighten out all of that landing gear underneath here. Come around to the outside. We want to just flip down those wings on either side. Now we're just going to make the front landing gear. Around to the underside of Jetfire and bring in his landing gear walking stick. You want to just bend that in half. This section here is going to tab in on his hands, and there's a slot here that's just going to tab into the groove in there. So let's try and do this together on camera. That goes in there, that bends over, and that just tabs in to the groove there, and then just close up those landing gear locks, and that's just not quite in. Pushing it down locks it into place, and you do need to do exactly the same just on this front end section as well. There's a tab just underneath here. You want to just push that in, and that locks that all securely into place. You can also bring in your chain gun section if you choose to, and that is just going to push on the underside. Again, you just want to apply relative amount of force, and that locks in underneath. And there we have him in his gorgeous jet mode. I am a huge fan of that alt mode. It is a little tiny, just a little bit tiny, bit shellformerish. In fact, it is quite a big bit shellformerish. But hey, it does look like a bloody gorgeous plane. Absolutely love the alt mode on this. Very panel-tastic, isn't it? But ooh. These bits again just wanted to pop out slightly. All in all, though, it does look and feel very much like its official counterpart. This mode, obviously being the 2-pack version, does have the slightly different deco, very minimalistic. We don't have all of the stuff on the wings, and we don't get any of the insignia on these sections either, so we can clearly tell it's a KO. So if somebody's trying to pass one of these off to you as an official product, it isn't. Now, the whole reason I got this was to combine with Optimus Prime. So our first port of action, ladies and gentlemen, is to flip this big bird over and untab these sections here. Easier said than done with one hand. There we go. And you want to just untab those legs, bring those back up, and you want to just bring those all the way back around. Can't even begin to describe how amazingly tight these joints are. And then come up to this head section, remove the Gatling gun, and you want to remove the landing gear. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. There we go. And you want to split these hand sections. Split those. Bring the arm down so it's at this angle with the hands pointing towards you. And you want to just rotate it at the upper bicep. Rotating this all the way around so the blackbird shell is now facing forwards. And come around to this chest section. And just move this section forward as well. That's now going to hook over to the back of Prime. Around to the leg. you want to make sure the landing gear is flipped in. Bring the leg down to the front like so. Then you want to rotate the knee section around. This section here is actually going to split. This section comes forwards, and this heel section is going to flip backwards. And basically, when we attach this to Prime, this is going to plug into the back of his heel, and this section is going to tilt back and give us sound effects. It's going to tilt back slightly, and this is basically going to take all of the weight of the backpack section. Untab this section from the wing, it's tabbed in like so, and you want to just give it a little nudge, and you want to just bring and extend this out. This comes up to this angle, and we just bring this out to the side. Last few steps, you just want to flip this section here upwards. That's going to tab into the underside of the crotch, that sort of area. And this section here that we plugged in that covers the battery, you want to just untab that away from the rest of Jetfire, and we'll just give that a little nudge, and basically this section is going to fold up to form the gun. Fold this section out, fold the handle upwards like so. We can bring in Jetfire's cane that can fit in here as well, just on the wing section there. This section here can now come, folds on that joint like so, that folds over on there like this, and that is pretty much the gun. Yeah. Now to get Prime ready for his transformation, you just need to open up his back sections here, fold them all the way out, bring down these sections here, come down to his legs. You want to open his feet, bring them down to this position, and have the feet section out at the back. Now we're going to have the base of Jetfire tab in here, the crotch plate flick up underneath, and the back section just comes over his shoulders. And here he is, all locked and loaded. We just do this belt up around there. The instructions tell us to have these bits pointing outwards. I've looked at a lot of the product shots, and they actually have them folded inwards. I don't think it matters either way. I just like them being folded inwards like that. I think it makes him look a little bit less bulky. He's a bit of a sod to stand up, and his crotch section that goes underneath keeps untabbing. Now I'm not sure if it's because of these sections here. These do seem to get in the way of him securing properly, but hey, it is all on there. The cluster mess that is Jetfire. There we go, it's all Prime. It's not amazing, considering you can get like the Fans Want It 3 or the Fans Want It 4. They are very nice upgrade kits, but it is fun just to rip Jetfire apart and stick him on to Prime like this. I think I'm going to keep him like this just because it's not a fun toy. It's very well made. It's high quality. It is nigh on identical in quality to that of the Takara product. He is missing those paint applications, just the insignias, etc. He is a sod to transform. His parts do fall off him left, right, and centre. So yes, he's very much like the original. He is not fun. There is no joy involved when transforming this figure or getting him in any of his poses. But the overall result is kind of awesome. Bulky Prime from Revenge of the Fallen, magnetically attached to all of the parts of Sacrificial Jetfire. Thanks again to the guys over at TF Direct for making this review possible. If you'd like to order this product now, click the link in the description below. And until next time, from myself and the Energy Warrior making a comeback, Decepticon GOD-01, Decepticon Skyfire, Autobot, goodbye.